Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MI Gardener channel. It's a hot one today. It's about 85 degrees, 90% humidity, and I could have sworn it was August, but it's not. It's actually October. Today is October. Oh my goodness. It's here, folks. It's here. Even though the weather doesn't feel like it's here, October is here, and that means our first frost is roughly 30 days away. Eesh. Going to be planting garlic soon. We're going to be bringing you guys along for that as well. Stay tuned for those episodes, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about saving seeds. We're talking about saving seeds the way it was taught to me by the old Amish farmer that I talk so often about here on this channel. For those of you that don't have any background context at all, I pretty much grew up in a Mennonite community. Now, I didn't actually grow up in a Mennonite community. There was a town about 3 towns over from where I grew up that had one of the largest Mennonite communities in all of Michigan. And my grandparents, both on my mom's side and my dad's side, lived there. And so whenever we'd go and visit, or if they were watching me, or just if I was staying over there for any length of time, I guaranteed would interact with the Mennonite community, whether it was through Mennonite kids working at the Mennonite store, whether it was touring the farms and just kind of walking around while my grandparents did their shopping. I would just walk the farm and just kind of look at the animals and see how they're growing their food and just look at things that interested me. And I would also talk to the Mennonite farmers that were working the fields as well. It was very strange because I always thought sunflowers hung like that one behind me, where they just droop the head down and you get their seeds. But they were actually cutting them off. They were cutting them off with a machete. I don't have a machete on me. I don't want to lose an arm, but they were using a machete, and they would cut them down. And then what they would do is they would take them in bundles of 3 or 4. They'd wrap them with baler's twine, and then they would hang them up in their barn. I thought, wow, that is really strange. What on earth are they doing? And so I asked the old Mennonite farmer that I talked to quite a bit. I said, I still don't know his name. I wish I would have been able to find out his name. But I asked him, I said, what are you doing? I said, why are you bundling them up and taking in the whole stalk into the barn? And he said, well, the reason why is because if we leave them out like this, birds, raccoons, mice, and squirrels will completely pillage the sunflower heads. And that is actually what happens a lot. I mean, I'll show you the devastation of ones that had actually fallen down. We had a really strong wind and they kind of knocked them down. Over the course of a week, they've been completely just mutilated by squirrels, mice, birds, and probably some raccoons as well. So what he said what they would do is they would tie them up from the base, hang them upside down, and this method of hang drying was what they would do to preserve their seeds, not only for their own consumption, but also for animal feed, for like their chickens, but then also they would do it for future seed preservation. And this way they got really nice, perfect heads that were not damaged in the least, and they actually became mature just by hang drying them. Because when they droop over like this, he told me, the seeds inside, when they droop over, are actually already mature and viable. It's just that a lot of people think that the seeds have to be bone dry. The drying actually occurs regardless if it's on the plant or off the plant, and you can save them either way. And there's really no risk of mold, because as long as there's good air circulation around them, being like a rafter from a shed, or in your basement or anything like that, that air circulation will dry out the head, and then they just peel right off and they come right out and they're perfectly fine. I thought this was really incredible, and I actually took this method and I've been using it ever since. And it's really truly helped me to not only have better quality seeds, but more of them and give less away to wildlife. Because one thing that is a really big annoyance, is that when you have sunflowers like this, a lot of people don't like to grow sunflowers, because then when the birds and the raccoons and the mice, whatever pest you have, or whatever animal, they're only a pest if you don't want them there, but whatever animal is coming to feed on the seeds, they drop a bunch all over the garden, and then they just sprout up everywhere next year. And this can be a good thing or a bad thing, but if you don't want them there, then it just becomes a nuisance. And so they sprout up everywhere. And also, I want to be able to save the best genetics for next year. Whether it was the prettiest, the tallest, the biggest, whatever it is, I want to save them. And I've got an absolutely monolithic mammoth sunflower head that I want to save, and I don't want to risk any birds getting to it. So we're going to do that, and we're going to save our seeds. So as you can see here, we got another one there, and there's a bunch of the Autumn Beauty that I want to save up as well. And so I'll show you the ones that touch the ground. You can see some of the bent over stalks. We had some pretty strong wind that came in through here, and they just didn't stand a chance. So this is what happens. What they would do is they'd climb up these stalks. They'd climb up these stalks here, let the weight of their body come down, and one little squirrel would wait down here, and the other one would do the dirty work and bend it down so the other squirrel could feed on it. And they basically just traded on and off. It was the most insane thing ever. But you can see here, there are just seeds everywhere. There's gonna be 20, 30 sprouts here next season, assuming the seeds don't rot or they don't get carried away by another mouse. But you'll see there's a seed right there. There's another viable seed that'll sprout, and there'll be sprouts everywhere. Now that could be a good thing or a bad thing. I just don't like seeds and stuff sprouting in my walkways because it makes more work for me. But you can also see the mess they leave. Check it out over here. Look at this. See this? Broken and pillaged. Check it out. Just pillaged. Not a single seed remaining. Over here, you can see more damage. Check it out. They even were so gracious as to knock over one of the ones I was really hoping to save. So I got to get to this one, because this one right here was the white seeded. This was the white seeded sunflower. It's actually a pretty rare variety, and I want to save these seeds so I can grow them next year. And well, they got to them. This is a really unique variety of white seeded sunflower, and they produce all albino seeds. So interesting, so cool. I absolutely love this, and so I was really sad to see, but I'm glad to see they left me some seeds. But they, I only had 2 plants. This one got completely pillaged. This one here got completely pillaged. There's still a few left, and then this one here was just one of the newest casualties. So really cool. I am just so in love with this albino sunflower. It's hopefully one that we're gonna add to the store one of these days, but really beautiful. Okay, so we're actually starting to get a little bit of rain, which is also another reason why we gotta get these things saved. Moisture is a seed's worst enemy. And so what we wanna do is we wanna get these cut down so we can get them hanging. So all we have to do is just clip them off the plant, clip off these leaves here. Leaves are totally unnecessary for this process, and all they do is they invite more pests and bugs into your house or into your shed. So just clip all the leaves off. It just reduces the amount of places where bugs can hide. And so clip all of them off, every one of them. There you go. Now you got a head just like that. We're gonna do that with the other one. Okay, get you down here. Okay, this thing is huge. This thing is, before it fell over, this thing was topping out at about 12 feet tall, and the head on this is absolutely massive. So we're gonna bend this over here, and oh wow, that's a nice size head there. So there we go, a huge mammoth sunflower head there. Now you notice one thing, this has still got a lot of the flower buds on it. A lot of people think that all the flower buds have to fall off before the seeds are viable. This is not true. As soon as the bees or whatever pollinator pollinates the flowers, each one of these flowers attaches to a seed. This is not a flower. This is actually these are pseudopetals here that make it look like a large flower, but in fact, all of these are actually the petals. All of these are actually the tiny little flowers. When those are pollinated and they dry up, they can be combed off like this, and you'll see the seeds below. So just rake those off, because they'll just drop off and make a nasty mess in wherever you're saving the seeds. And they also will hold on to some moisture that's not necessary to save the seeds. So get those off like that. Okay. After that's done, oh, still some more. Okay. All right. After that's done, so you can see we have 100% of the seeds here. No bugs, no animals, nothing has taken any seeds. 100% for me. Absolutely love this. I'm not trying to be greedy. I'm just saying this was the one that I wanted to save. So I'd be devastated if something happened to these seeds. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to clip off all the flowers, or all the leaves, just like we did last time. It's starting to rain hard. We're gonna hurry. Okay. Okay. Once you get all those off, they're ready to hang dry. So I'm gonna take you into the shed, and we're gonna get them hung. All right, let's go. All right, welcome to the shed. So I'm just gonna show you what we're gonna do. I'm just gonna simulate what you can do, because our shed does not have any rafters. I'm actually gonna hang these in our basement, but you can't come down in our basement because it's messy. we're cleaning up, we're getting everything sorted and organized for the off season when we start winter gardening down in the basement again. And so everything is out. We're putting it all in boxes. It just is not suitable for filming. So I'm going to show you what you can do. Super simple, super easy, and that way you can use it in your shed, basement, wherever, and that way you don't have to see my mess. So, all right. So in sets of 2 or 3, I'd prefer no more than 3 because it gets kind of heavy if you put more than 3 of these in one bundle. But throw 3 in here and kind of just allow them to kind of fan out like this, where they're not going to be facing each other. They're going to be kind of facing apart from each other. And then what you're going to do is, here's the really nice thing. So when you clipped off all of the leaves and you left a little bit of these tag ends here, those are really easy to lash on some string to. As you can see, they're kind of hanging right on my fingers, just kind of hanging like that there. And that is all a string is going to do. You're just going to lash around some string, and then you can just tie it up to rafters just like that. And that way, no mice can get to it, no squirrels can get to it, no bats are going to eat it. Even if you have bats in your shed, no bats are going to eat it. And this is pretty much safe from any pest whatsoever. Animals, bugs, it doesn't matter. And these are going to dry just like this. You're going to let them hang dry until they're well dry. All these flowers are going to turn nice, or all these pseudopetals are going to turn nice and brown. They're just going to dry up and wither away. This one's already starting to kind of turn yellow here. So they go from a nice green color to more of a yellow color to a brown color when they're completely dry. And then when they're completely dry, you can take them down. You can shuck them just like you do corn. Just basically shuck them with your thumb into a jar, into a box, a bag, whatever you're storing them in. And they're going to be good to either plant, roast, or feed to your animals. So a wonderful way to save your sunflower seeds, and one that was taught to me by the old Amish farmer. So I'm really glad that you guys tuned in for this episode. I know it was a short one. I know it wasn't a super substantial one filled with lots of information, but I do get asked almost on a weekly basis this time of year, Luke, I can't seem to save any of my sunflower heads. They all get eaten by pests. And so I figured it was worthwhile to show you guys how I do it, how to prevent them from getting eaten, and also just kind of share another story from my childhood, because I know how much you love them, and I love talking about them. I think when you learn stuff from other people, it's important to highlight who you learned them from, because we weren't born with this information. At least I wasn't. And so giving credit where credit's due is so important, and that's kind of what we're going to be doing going forward. Is anytime we have something that's notable, that has a good story attached to it, I love sharing them with you. So thank you guys so much for tuning in for today's episode. I'm gonna go get these hung in our basement. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. Make sure to click that like button. Make sure to click that like button if you did enjoy, and make sure to subscribe if you're not yet already. We got a ton more content coming out. So, all right, I'll catch you all on tomorrow's episode. As always, grow big or go home. We'll see you later.